It is absolutely my privilege and my pleasure to say Happy Hat Day on the first day after homecoming, beautiful people. I am Reverend Vicki Jeter, your minister for Louisville Center for Spiritual Living. And we thank you, everyone, for being with us this Sunday, August 24th of 2025. We welcome all paths to God. We welcome your challenges and your questions. All pieces and paths of spirit, all areas of our lives and parts of ourselves are essential to a world that works for all beings. So whether you're here with us for the first time, thank you, thank you, thank you. Or if you're watching us on YouTube, we thank you for being with us today because you are why we are here. Now, this hat was a gift to me from homecoming weekend that expresses the feeling of the wonderful success the weekend was. And our entire community was with us at heart. So even if you couldn't be with us in person, you were with us in spirit and at heart. And we will be sharing some very special memories for anyone who is able to stay for sharing time. Sharing time happens immediately after the close of service. You don't have to go anywhere. We just roll right into it. We spend anywhere from 15 to 30 minutes just sharing and connecting. And so during that time, we will have a lovely review of the weekend. Now, for laying the foundation going into opening prayer this morning, fabulous synchronicity of spirit. The 26th of August happens to be Women's Equality Day. And Women's Equality Day originated on August the 26th of 1920. It's the anniversary of women's right to vote in the United States. Women first organized to gain voting equality in 1848. And our beloved Reverend Scott Aubrey, who does spiritual passages, he clarified that the long road of only 72 years it took women's voting equality to be acknowledged and embraced and embodied reminds us that justice unfolds not in a single moment. You know, we keep waiting for like this decision or that decision, you know, we'll solve this problem or solve that problem. Doesn't happen that way. It happens with human courage and persistence. In the 19th Amendment, it was more a change of consciousness than it was of law. It was a shift in consciousness of, you know, like national and hopefully global consciousness, one would hope, ultimately, affirming that the divine image shines equally through every person. While the struggle is not complete, not for women, not for racism and all the isms that are, you know, rising up and going on right now, none of them feel complete. But the spiritual life calls us to realize that equity is not a political issue alone. The political thing, that's the arena that it moves through. But the issue is a sacred spiritual one. It's part of what we're evolving through. So every voice matters because every soul matters. And Scott Aubrey said that, as the Apostle Paul wrote, there is neither Jew nor Greek. There is neither slave nor free. There is no male or female, for you are all one in Christ consciousness. And that actually out of the Bible is Galatians 3:28. So on this day, we honor the women whose faith and determination bent the arc of history to bring us to where we are today. And we recommit ourselves to the vision of wholeness for every person, to be seen as valued and to be free to shine their light as Spirit intended. Now, this principle that Scott has offered applies to every current challenge we have, every inequality and every injustice. So if there are ways in which you have felt subjected to social inequality or injustice. I encourage you to take a stand inside yourself with spirit, knowing that no one, in human terms, has permission to take anything from you. If you hold yourself there, spirit meets you where you show up, and you don't have the problem, because if there's not a match, it's not going to show up in form. So, all of that being said, Reverend Carolyn is our speaker today, and she's going to continue this exploration in a fabulous way. Just so happens the topic is the turbulence of love. So, I invite you to take a moment now, check in and see what brought you to be with us today, recognizing our collective intention is to simply follow this through as students in the spiritual classroom, surrounded in this safe environment of so much love and gratitude. And with this, our opening prayer. I recognize one life, one love, one infinite creative presence that is the all that is all. And as it is the all that is all, it is all I am. It is all within each person that hears the sound of my voice at any time, one in mind, heart, and soul. And as we are one, I realize that the words spoken here this day through Reverend Carolyn and through all of us meets that which has been seeking, and that it is reciprocal, so that everything is fulfilled according to the highest and best in the law of God. Thank you, thank you, thank you for the opportunity, and thank you that this classroom is equally a playground. And with the heart of a child, I release it to let it be, and so it is. And this brings us, of course, to our special music, What Love Needs by Denise Rosier.
Praising everybody's work. Take a picture by a waterfall, prove I care about the earth, to show I know what love means. That's who I could be. What love needs is my voice speaking from my truth. What love needs is showing up, knowing what is mine to do. What love needs are hands and feet. What love needs is me. I could circle holy places to visit when I can't, pin a ribbon on my overcoat, raise another flag. I could cheer the loudest for someone else's work, tell the youth to go forward and heal the world of hurt, to show I know how love moves. That's what I could do. What love needs is my voice speaking from my truth. What love needs is showing up, knowing what is mine to do. What love needs are hands and feet. What love needs is me. love needs is me. What love needs is me.
What love needs is each of us declaring our mission and vision in this moment. The mission of Louisville Center for Spiritual Living is to teach personal transformation as a virtual community, living the principles of science of mind and celebrating all paths to God, which manifests our vision of a world that honors and respects all people, all beings. Now, we know that this teaching is only as pertinent as applies to you. And so each week we offer declarations of our principles and what we believe to practice and to talk about. So the financial freedom declaration of principle for this week is willingness is worthiness. And I invite you to say these with me. I believe that whoever is willing to bring the qualities of God into expression is worthy of experiencing them. Therefore, because I am willing to prosper others, I am worthy of being prospered in return. And that is by the Reverend Marcia Sutton and Reverend Lloyd Strom. And our application of what we believe for our talk today is turbulence is life force. It is opportunity. Let's love turbulence and use it for change. And that is by Ramsey Clark, whom I had never heard of before, but Spirit dropped that in for me, and I said, thank you. And now I turn this over to our practitioner of the week, Miss Tammy Ellis, for sacred reading and meditation.
Good morning, everyone. I'm Tammy, your prayer practitioner of the week, and I'm delighted today to do a reading and meditation by Reverend Dr. Michelle Madrano from the Centers for Spiritual Living Monthly Guide. This reading is entitled, Loving My Mistakes. One barrier to self-love might be that we feel we have just made too many mistakes to be deserving of love. Our mistakes may have been costly to us and to other people. We use these experiences to beat up ourselves and keep ourselves from experiencing grace. Yet, what might happen if we decided, or what would happen if we decided to love our mistakes? Yes, I said, love our mistakes. Now, we don't love that they happened, or maybe we would have preferred other experiences. Yet, what benefit are we getting from beating ourselves up about something in the past? The only benefit we get is feeling righteous about not deserving our love. That is not much of a perk. What can we love about our mistakes? Can we love that we learned? Can we love who we became because of them? Can we love how we may have changed our ways or our approach? Sometimes we're good at giving other humans the benefit of the doubt. We assume good about them and work not to take things personally. I would suggest we do the same with ourselves, that we give ourselves the benefit of the doubt and embrace the grace that emerges from our errors. I suggest we stop taking our own mistakes personally and give ourselves a break that includes continued self-acceptance and love, even in the presence of our foibles. We all make mistakes, and we can continue to love and honor ourselves in the midst of them. Now I encourage you just to take a few deep breaths in and out with me as we move to meditation. Oh, so nice just to feel that air and oxygen moving in and through our lungs and back out. And I encourage you to keep taking deep breaths as I read these several statements for you to contemplate for yourselves. I speak to myself from authentic and centered self with love and appreciation. Nice deep breath in and out. I speak to myself from my authentic and centered self with love and appreciation. Nice deep breath in and out. I speak to others from my authentic self with love and appreciation. I speak to others from my authentic self with love and appreciation. I invite you to take another nice deep breath in and release. I intend and pray for others in the world with love and appreciation. I intend and pray for others in the world with love and appreciation. I invite you to take another nice deep breath in. Feel that deep down in your belly. And release. If you'd like to just wiggle your fingers, your toes, move your shoulders around. And when you're ready to open your eyes to see the beautiful screen and your beautiful people in the beautiful Zoom boxes. And so it is.
And so it is. Thank you so much, Tammy. And this brings us to our special music for the day, which I wanted to just take a moment. This is a really special music. It's a little longer than what we would call normal for the time that we spend. And some of you may know it. It's been around for a long time. Closer to Believing by Emerson, Lake and Palmer, actually written and sung by Greg Lake. And I just want to invite you to settle with the paradoxes of our lives. This song speaks a great deal to paradoxes, shifting from spiritual perspective to very human perspective, from romantic love to love of ourselves, to love of the whole universe. And I just wanted to take a moment to say that before this song starts. Go ahead, Vernon.
I am closer to believing than I ever was before. On the crest of this elation must I crash upon the shore, and with the driftwood of acquaintance light the fire to love once more. I am windblown, I am time. be closer to believing, to be just a breath away. On the death of inspiration, I would buy back yesterday. But there's no cruel illusion, there's no sharper point to pay. As I reach out, it slips away. From the opium of custom to the ledges of extremes, don't believe it till you've held it. Life is seldom what it seems. Lay your heart upon the table, and in the shuffling of dreams, remember who on earth you are. We want us. But of course you know I love you. Oh, what else am I here for? Only you, not face to face, but side by side forevermore. And I need to be here with you, for without you what am I? Just another fool out searching for some heaven in the sky. Take me closer to believing, take me forward, lead me on, through collision and confusion. While there's life beneath the sun, you are the reason I continue. So near for so long, so close, yet so far away. Want us to live forever. Don't let the curtain fall. Measure after measure of writing on the wall that burns so brightly it blinds us all. To be together on Sundays in the rain, closer than forever, against all with the grain, to ride the storms of love again. So be closer to believing, though your world is torn apart. For a moment changes all things, and to end is but to start. And if your journey's unrewarded, may your God lift up your heart. You are windblown, but you are mine.
What a beautiful song. It's so beautiful, and it talks of many kinds of love, but what it talks about is the romantic love between a man and a woman, or whatever expression it takes. And it's just a beautiful encouragement. And it brings me to mind of a very special event at the gathering for Bob and I. We are still reminding each other of what that was like. We were put in a circle and people gave us feedback, encouragement, and all sorts of wonderful things. And it just was so affirming and so loving. And it is just with us. And it still is with us. And I just wanted to say thank you again. Vernon, the title page. Hmm? The topic today is the turbulence of love. Um, and we don't think of it often, or we don't speak of it often, that there is in any love relationship a turbulence, a tension, a give and take, sometimes a frustration, sometimes an anger, but it's something that gives energy to the relationship. Next slide, Vernon. Uh, and I would have a quote in a little while that turbulence is an energy to be used. And so that is something that we're going to talk about this morning. The affirmation for this week, this month, is God's love is my love, and my love is resilient. Have you thought of it that way? That your love is resilient. It comes back. Even when it gets knocked down, it comes back and gives again. It is there repeating itself, repeating what it is giving, what it is supporting, what it is being. So love is resilient. And we have a quote by Thich Nhat Hanh. All wrongdoings arise in the mind. It is through the mind that wrongdoings can disappear. Being in this movement, we talk a lot about we create with our minds. Our lives are created by what we have thought. And whether it was a positive thought or negative thought, doesn't matter. Our lives are created by what goes on in our minds. And we can correct it the same way. The things that we have created that cause us stress and limitation and frustration and pain can be corrected through the mind because that's where they were created. So all wrongdoings arise in the mind. It is through the mind that wrongdoings can disappear. Years and years ago, I was at a CSL retreat on a boat. I don't remember much about the retreat. I remember enjoying it, but I remember one thing that happened. I was talking to a couple. We were standing around. It was a meal time, and we were just talking. This couple was always together, and they were always so put together. You know, they both dressed beautifully, and they were just so polished. And they were very leaders in their group. And so we were talking. I don't know how we got to this point, but at one point I said, well, any couple, they're going to have frustrations. They're going to have disagreements. We don't. And they said it in unison. I said, oh, okay. No, we never disagree. We never argue. We always agree with each other. We always are just perfectly happy with each other. And I thought, okay. And I felt about that tall because I thought, is it just me? Am I the only one who has tension and frustration in their relationship? But I realized as I looked around, no, I was not the only one. and I don't know if that couple really was honest with me. I really don't know. But I've seen very few relationships that didn't have some sort of tension and frustration in them. Bob and I are different. We've been together 31 years and we're still different. And there are times, and I know that it comes from me, but there are times when there's frustration. Uh, Bob is very exacting. He wants to understand everything. Me, I'm just like, does it work? Okay, I don't care. I don't care how we got here. That's fine. It works. But for Bob, he wants to know how we got there. And so we're watching a movie and he doesn't quite understand something that's happening. He'll stop it and he'll back it up. And he'll back it up and he'll back it up and he'll back it up until he figures out what's going on. One night he said to me, what does she have in her hand? My thought was, who the heck cares? She had nothing to do with the storyline. I don't know what's in her hand and I don't care. But he cared and he went back and he went back until he figured out what it was. He does it with a lot of things. And you would think after 31 years, it wouldn't bother me at all. And most of the time, it doesn't. It's just who Bob is, and I love him just the way he is. But there are times when I'm into the movie and I'm into the feeling of it and the experience of it. And when he stops and goes back, it makes me want to scream, because I just want the movie to flow. I just share it with you just to say relationships have tension. Most of them do. I know there may be some perfect people out there, but most relationships have something that they don't quite agree with, and they have a few frustrations. That doesn't mean anything that diminishes the relationship, not anything at all, because people look at that and they move on. You know, on the nights that I'm frustrated if he's backed up, I remind myself that that's just who he is. That's how his mind works. And I love him just the way he is and just the way his mind works, even when his mind works contrary to how my mind works. But it's okay. So, um, the next slide. Have any of you recognized this gentleman? Do you recognize him? Am I the only one that remembers Jackie Gleason, or do others? Aha, Marie recognizes him. Jackie Gleason was a very successful actor, comedian, and he had a wonderful multi-decade career in music. He didn't sing, he published the music. He brought it together and put it out there. And his music often was mellow. He loved that mellow stuff. But I know him as the Honeymooners. It was a TV program that had 8 seasons, and it was very successful. And I knew him from that. So give me the next slide, Vernon. Here he is with his wife, Alice. One of these days, Alice, to the moon. One of these days, to the moon. I remember him doing that, the fist and all of that. He was frustrated with Alice. She was not agreeing with what he was doing, and he was frustrated. And almost every episode, he said this. And you would think that there was a lot of tension in their marriage, and there was some, but she just kept on loving him. She just kept on uh, being the foundation in their relationship, kept bringing him back to whatever it was that needed to be done, and kept moving him forward, protecting him and loving him. And he did the same for her, but he also had a lot of anger, and he would express it. Uh, but I never really thought she was in any danger, or that he really meant any of it. He just was that kind of over the top kind of guy. But Jackie Gleason, he, at first blush, when you watched the show, it really looked like there was great turbulence, great frustration and anger in their marriage. But really, not so much. As you watched it, you realized how much love there was in their relationship. So Jackie Gleason is someone I remember fondly. I was part of, I watched episode after episode of it as a young person. And I just really loved him and remember him well. Okay, Vernon, let's go to the next one. This one is the one that we used earlier, is Declaration of Principle. Vicki found it and she shared it with me, and it is just perfect for this talk. Turbulence is life force. It is opportunity. Let's love turbulence and use it for change. Any energy can be used in a positive or a negative way. Any force can be used in the way we determine to use it. We can see turbulence as all negative, or we can see it as an opportunity to look at what's going on in our relationship, what's going on in our life, and how we want to use that, how we want to express it to the world and have it be received. So turbulence is a life force. It is opportunity. Let's love turbulence and use it for change. So instead of being angry at turbulence or frustrated or afraid of it and threatened by it, use it. Use it as an opportunity uh, to let us use it for change, which is what we're all after, constantly looking for a way to change. One of the things that I was thinking about was, how do we use turbulence for change? How do we see it as an opportunity? When I'm frustrated with Bob, I can be frustrated and angry. I can think, okay, here we go again. This is another opportunity for me to reach out and support him. It's another opportunity for me to recognize my love for him and to express that. And so turbulence is a reminder to take a moment to express my love. And I'm grateful for it. Vernon, the next one. So how do we change? How do we deal with the things in our lives that we want to change and want to have different? And it's very simple. It's a simple act of saying, I need a new mindset. I am open to a new way of thinking about. The very simple act of asking the questions or making the statements opens our mind to change, and we can begin anew. You need a new mindset. You're not moving forward in your life. You're angry. You're frustrated. You're feeling less than. You're challenged with the day-to-day of life. You need a new mindset. Tell yourself that, and then trust yourself to create it, because the mind is built to constantly seek a better and higher way of being. It is constantly seeking the higher road. And so if you tell it you need a new way of being, it will search for that. It will search for a new way of thinking, for things to encourage you in a new way. And you can give it the idea that I want less turbulence in my life and I want more peace. I want to be with this person in a positive way, hour to hour, day to day. I want to trust myself, value myself, and be in my life fully. Whatever it is, those are just some ideas. You want to open your mind to change. And just by stating that you can change, you are opening your mind. And it will give you the chance to begin anew. Your mind will bring to you some new idea, some new way of being, just because you stated that you wanted it and it's possible. So, turbulence, it's a way to route your energy in a new way. It's a way to show you what's working and what's not working. It's a way to challenge you to be open to total new ways of thinking. This month, my spiritual hero, our leader, our influencer, is Emily Cady. Vernon? Now, I have heard of Emily Cady before. I have read some about her. In the studies to become a minister, she was one of those that we read something about. But I didn't put a whole lot of time into studying her. There was just so many other things to read and so many other things to think about. She was and still is an influencer in the unity movement because they quote her book, Lessons in Truth, today. That book is a standard text with the unity movement. Now, if I had been a unity follower, I would know a lot about her and I would be appreciative of her. But since I didn't, it was all peripheral. So I really enjoyed reading about her and about her life and how it came about. When she was in her 40s, Emma Curtis Hopkins came to New York She led, if you remember Emma Curtis Hopkins, it's called The Teacher of Teachers. And she was very influential in a lot of work written and still quoted and studied today. She came to New York and led a series of lectures, and it was very successful. People came and listened, and one of the people who came and listened was Emily Cady. Emily sat there and listened and knew that this was right. This was the way she wanted to live her life. This is the way that she wanted to study and be useful in sharing this truth with other people. She wanted not only to live her life this way, but she wanted to share the richness of it, the beauty of it with other people. And so she thought about how she could do that. At the time, she was a teacher, a school teacher. She wasn't overly successful at it. I mean, she was successful, but she had struggles. During that time, uh, middle class women with an education didn't have many opportunities to have a job and to support themselves. And teachers just didn't make enough money to really support themselves. So she struggled. So she sat there and decided this was her new way of life. And to do this, she needed a new profession. That she couldn't really reach people as a school teacher. And she decided that a physician was what would do it. As a physician, she would come in touch with people who needed this teaching, people who were in trouble and struggling. And these were the people that she wanted to support and help and teach. And so she went to school. It was a struggle financially. It was a struggle physically. She didn't have a lot of strength, and so it was a struggle. But she did it. She chose homeopathic position. At that time, it was one of the areas that a person could study to become a doctor, and it was the least invasive. Still around today. It's actually growing in popularity at the moment, and it is a way of treating an illness. One of the things that they do is they refine a cause of an illness, and they refine it and they refine it and they refine it until it's an essence. And you take that, and it gives you healing powers against that particular disease. That's a very simplistic way of explaining that, but I think it's the idea. So she studied, she became a physician, and she was successful in that. And she used her newfound wisdom and her homeopathic training and helped people a lot. And she was very successful with that. She wanted to prove all the things that she was teaching. And so her life was a series of experiments to prove a truth. So the lessons in truth come from her experiments, her experiences of truth. And so she was going along and she decided she needed to prove the principle of abundance and, always having enough and more to take care of herself. And so she quit asking people to pay her. She would, trust that they would pay her and that she would have enough to live on, and God would provide, that God was her supply. And so she did that, and she did that for 2 years. She had mixed responses, and there were times when she was hungry. And after 2 years, she came to God and she said to him, "What is this? What is this sense of failure? This after this 2 years, I'm still having failure. What is that? What am I doing wrong?" And she listened. And God said, "Let there be light." And there was light. And that was the only phrase that she got. Now, when she started with abundance, her mantra was, God as all sufficiency in all things. God is all sufficiency in all things. And she repeated it to herself over and over and over again. But after 2 years, she had not experienced the abundance that she expected. And so she went to God, argued with him, and he said to her, God said, let there be light, and there was light. She did not understand that answer. She just did not know what that meant, but she repeated it over and over and over again. So it would become a part of her body of knowledge, a part of her body of experience. And all of a sudden, she got it. God said, let there be light, and there was light. She had yet to say, it is done. God is now manifested as my supply. It is now done. God is now manifested as my supply. So she learned that in abundance and prosperity, there was knowing that God was the light, that God was the sufficiency in all things, provider of all things. And then to say it and claim it and know it and be it. It is done. God is now manifested as my supply. She had, I just want to share another experience with her. Um, she sprained her ankle, and she sprained it really bad, and it was swollen to the point where you thought it was going to pop. The skin was so tight, and it was so painful. And it was 2.5 days, and she could barely walk. She couldn't do her job, and she was in such pain. And she went, "That's not right. That's not right. I need to figure out what I need to be knowing." And she figured out there's only God. All else is a lie. There is only God. All else is a lie. Over and over and over again. There is only God. All else is a lie. Within 24 hours, she was totally healed. There was no swelling, there was no pain, there was no evidence of ever having sprained her ankle. From that, and for other things in her history, it's reinforced what I've known for years, that you have to find that one phrase that speaks truth to you in a way that cannot be denied. You find that truth and you repeat it until it becomes a part of you, becomes your knowing, your absolute faith in knowing the truth. Lessons in truth. I was thinking about how to end my talk this morning, and I wanted to take something from Emily Cady's writing, because it just seems appropriate. And so I went online and found Lessons in Truth. And the first 3 points are what I'm going to share with you this morning as our wrapping up of what we've learned. Most persons, when they first consciously set out to gain a fuller, higher knowledge of spiritual things, do so because of dissatisfaction, or perhaps unsatisfaction would be the better word. And with their present conditions of life, they're dissatisfied. Inherent in the human mind is the thought that somewhere, somehow, it ought to be able to bring it to itself that which it desires and which would satisfy. This thought is but the foreshadowing of that which really is. Our wishes, it is said, do measure just our capabilities. Who with his might aspires unto the mountain's upper height, holds in that aspiration a great trust to be filled, a warrant that he must not disregard, a strength to reach the height to which his hopes have taken flight. That reminds me so much the women's group did studies of Hinds' Feet on High Places, a book about the heights and being there. And that reminds me so much of that. We are straining for the heights, for the understanding and for the acceptance of the truth of spirit. The hunger that we feel is but the prompting of the divine within us, which longs with an infinite longing to fill us. It is but one side of the law of demand and supply, the other side of which is unchangeable, unfailing, the promise. All things whatsoever you pray and ask for, believe that you receive them, and ye shall have them. The supply is always equal to the demand, but there must first be a demand before supply is of use. In this moment, I turn to speak truth, to know truth. We have the desires within us to be better, more whole, more satisfied, more expressive, more spirit experienced. And the simple desire is there, and the call to answer it, to fulfill it, to support it is the very essence of what spirit is. And so in this moment, I claim for all of us the opportunity to open our hearts and mind to the fuller expression of spirit, to know that we are blessed and supported in all things and in all ways. And with our word, we call forth truth. And with great joy and great abundance and great appreciation, I let it be. I call it done. And so it is. Amen.
Thank you, Reverend Carolyn. Oh man, there's so many tidbits in there that I'm just going to let it just roll around in my brain and absorb it. So thank you so much for your authenticity and sharing from your personal experience. Thank you, thank you. And now it's time for our prosperity affirmation and giving time. We appreciate everyone giving your time, talents, and prosperity. And we gratefully accept credit card or debit card. You can see the copy and the link in the chat. You can do it the modern way on PayPal and Zelle online, or you're welcome to do good old snail mail to put a check in the mail to Louisville Center for Spiritual Living, P.O. Box 43958, Louisville, Kentucky 40253. If you'd like to say with me now, all together, if you'd like to say this out loud wherever you are, on the count of 3, and a 1, and a 2, and a 3. I am grateful to have been loved, and to be loved now, and to be able to love, because love liberates all as the source of all abundance, by the wonderful Maya Angelou. And I pass this to you, Reverend Vicki, for the blessing of the offering.
And so, shifting into the blessing, I invite all of us to breathe in and receive. And as we exhale, we release and give out in blessing. And in this moment, I so know it has been said, Reverend Carolyn's closing was the blessing of this offering. And so simply, I release it, I let it be, and so it is.
And now for our announcements. As you heard, if you were on before we started service, you've heard from some people that the Revolutionary Agreements book is wonderful. And we do that for some Sundays, so some of us are familiar with that. but now we're doing a book study on it, and that has already started, but you're welcome to join in any Saturday. And that's 11 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. And we're going to do that for 8 weeks. So last Saturday was week 1. So please come join us. We're going to be listening to the book together on Audible.
And it's on this Zoom. You just come just like you're coming to church.
Awesome. We're going to have our board meeting on Monday, this coming up Monday, August 25th. That's going to be 6 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. You can come and meet the board members if you don't know them or get to know them better. Anyone is welcome. And also the same Zoom link as we're on now. And we're going to have wonderful Reverend Vicki Jeter being our speaker next week. And that'll be already August 31st, last day of the month. And her topic will be Love's Descent. And
we're turning this over to Joan.
Okay, thank you.
Hey, good morning, beautiful people. So good to see you. This is about our August update. But first, I want to celebrate the July. You can see our income was almost $180 over our expenses. So yay for us. Our August income up to now, as you see, is $1,410. Our total expenses are $2,827. So we still need about $1,420 by the end of this month, something for everybody to think about and come together on. So I'm happy to give you this report. I think we're doing well. We just have to keep going. Thank you.
Thank you, Joan.
And Reverend Vicki, would you like to talk about this one?
Sure. So this is Louisville Center for Spiritual Living's Unexpected Income Initiative. And when this was set, we started in May for this year, and we're going through August, we're coming into the last week. Really, it would be wonderful to watch us hit that goal of $10,000 in unexpected income to you all. You're the community, and then that reciprocation of the 10% to LCSL would take that up to 1,000 for us. We're almost there. And I have had several people suggest to me that it might be a good idea to keep this as an ongoing thing. So there's a part of me that knows it might be good to take a little breath, take it down. I know it'll be in y'all's minds and hearts to a certain extent, but some people have said, oh, but the reminder is really, really good. So the jury is out with Spirit, whether we will keep putting this up in September. But I wanted to say thank you for having come this far, and blessing to you all who have received up to, $8,248 in extra income. And also, I do know someone recently sent in an unexpected income that has not yet been fully clarified. So that's not yet on the scale, and we probably will do that next week. So thank you, even though I know you're probably seeing it's not on there yet. And so then we can go to the next slide.
Thank you, Reverend Vicki. Everyone is invited to stay after the service, after the benediction, the closing prayer, and just to share with each other what's going on. If you'd like to say on the count of 3 out loud to yourself and to each other. 1, 2, 3. We are magnificent.
And actually, before you start before the closing song, Vernon, I know Melissa had put in the chat a question. Thank you, Melissa. We do that. The book study is going for 8 weeks, 8 Saturdays at 11 o'clock on this same Zoom. And you don't have to have gotten the first weeks, because each of the agendas that come up in this book can stand on their own. So you can benefit from coming to any of the weeks. And then also, of course, the book is available. I just wanted to, because I don't know when you have to go, I wanted to catch that before you're gone. And it is absolutely my pleasure to introduce our closing song. Um, so special, as all of you I think know, um, uh, except for those who are brand new. Winnie the Pooh is our mascot, and the reason for that is because the spiritual truth about the stories of Pooh are come out of Taoism, and it's the balance of truly understanding that we are born with a way within us with spirit that's natural that we do not have to work for, and that is our personal Pooh. And when you feel lost, when you feel overwhelmed by what's going on in human life, to return to your Pooh Bear, to your soul at the level of Pooh, that Pooh operated on, then this is like coming home. And I discovered this song recently. This song has been around since the 70s. It was written by Kenny Loggins. It is absolutely lovely, and I am receiving it as an anthem to our recent weekend and to this month that we've been talking about love. If you choose, join me in our benediction. Oh, for a tongue to express the wonders which thought reveals. Oh, for some word to comprehend the boundless idea, for our voices to be sweet enough to sound the harmony of life within that vast realm of thought where my soul meets spirit. I will listen for the voice, and it will tell me of life and love and unity.